My wife divorced me by email while I was 90 miles offshore. She emptied our savings and moved her boyfriend into my house. I wrote back one word. What she didn't know was that she'd already signed away every claim she had. I'm Cal, 41. 14 years as an electrician on offshore rigs. 21 days on, 21 off. Her email came in at 4:10 in the morning, Gulf time. 4 lines. She'd filed. She'd moved the money. Reed was living at the house now. She closed with, "Please don't make this ugly." I read it twice, typed understood, and went to shift. My crew lead clocked it at breakfast and said I looked like somebody had died. I told him my wife left me, cleaned out the account, and moved a guy into my house. He set down his coffee and asked what I was going to do. "Handle it," I said, on paper. Here's what Danielle forgot. That house came to me from my grandmother in 2013, 3 years before we met. I borrowed against it in 2019 for the roof and septic, and that note has one name on it. I put her on the deed after the wedding. That's what you do. Then 18 months ago, she wanted to refinance. Better rate, she said. $400 a month back in our pockets. I said fine. At the closing table, I had the officer add one page, a spousal waiver disclaiming any independent interest in the property and requiring both signatures for any sale or transfer. He explained it in plain English. She was answering texts. She signed where he pointed and asked if we were done. Now, the money, $51,000, gone in a morning. That one actually hurt. But 8 months before that email, things started going wrong. She stopped asking about my hitches. She started working Saturdays at an office that had never needed Saturdays. New passcode on her phone, a gym membership, and no gym clothes in the wash. She kept bringing up a friend at work who'd finally left her husband and had never been happier. I didn't confront her. That's not how I'm built. My father taught me to watch first and move once, so I opened an account at a credit union across the county and started routing 60% of my pay into it. The rest landed in our joint account like always. She never noticed because she'd stopped looking months before. I moved the important things into a storage unit, the deed, the estate paperwork, my grandmother's rings. The morning I left for that hitch, Danielle drove me to the heliport, hugged me at the fence and told me to be careful. Her face was dry, like dropping off a coworker. I should have known right then. From the rig, I watched the accounts. Small pulls at first, 600, 900, then 44,000 in one transaction. The day after she emailed me, the bank confirmed she'd opened the receiving account 7 weeks earlier. That night, I pulled up the house cameras, which she'd forgotten I could reach. A black F-150 in my driveway. A man in my kitchen in my Astros shirt drinking out of my mug. Danielle laughing at the counter I'd tiled myself. What I felt wasn't rage. It was the quiet that comes when a problem gets simple. I called Arturo, a guy I came up with who went to law school at 32. He told me she'd stepped in it several ways over. She couldn't assume a note she wasn't on, the waiver was airtight, and draining the accounts while I was offshore would not read well to any judge in the state. He asked what he should file. Nothing yet, I said. Let them get comfortable. People make their biggest mistakes right after they think they've won. So I waited and paid the note out of my own account 4 more weeks, then stopped. 31 days later, my phone rang. First time she'd called since the email. Her voice was thin. She said the bank had sent a default notice. I could hear Reed behind her saying I couldn't do this. I told her I could. My note, my grandmother's house, and she'd signed a waiver with a pen in her own hand. She said she was on the deed. I said the deed doesn't pay the mortgage, and she should have read page 11. Long silence. Then she said they were drowning, that Reed had quit his job. I asked what he'd been planning to live on. She didn't answer. We both already knew. I called Arturo and told him to file all of it. They had 30 days. On day 28, she called crying, asking if we could work something out. I told her she'd worked it out the morning she moved him in. Reed left her 9 days later, once he understood there wasn't any money. I'm back on shore in 3 weeks. Same house, same kitchen. I'm getting a dog.